When I first met Emily, it felt like the universe had quietly shifted. There was something magnetic about her, an effortless charm wrapped in a bright, thoughtful mind and a smile that made even the dullest days feel lighter. From the very beginning, we connected like two pieces of the same puzzle. We talked about everything, our dreams, fears, childhoods, and what kind of home we'd build together someday. After 2 years of dating that felt more like growing side by side, I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me. She said yes, eyes gleaming with excitement, and for a while, I believed I had found the woman I'd grow old with. But a few months into the engagement, the atmosphere between us began to shift in ways that were hard to name but impossible to ignore. It started small. Her phone would buzz constantly, and where she used to share everything with me. Now she'd glance at the screen, chuckle softly, then tuck her phone away like it carried a secret. At first, I brushed it off. I trusted her, completely. But the feeling wouldn't leave me alone, that quiet churn in my stomach, whenever I saw her smile at messages she didn't want me to see. I didn't want to be the jealous type, didn't want to become someone who snooped or questioned, but something in my gut kept tugging at me. One evening, as we sat in the living room, the quiet between us louder than ever, I gently asked, "Hey, who's been messaging you so much lately?" She hesitated, just for a moment, but in that pause, my heart already knew. Then came the casual response, "It's just my ex. He reached out recently." I froze. My heart didn't know whether to drop or race. I asked her why she was talking to him again, tried to keep my voice calm, even though my insides were tightening with every word. She shrugged like it was no big deal. "We're just friends." "Don't be so insecure," she said, with a tone that sliced deeper than I expected. Still, I tried to stay composed. I told her, carefully, that I wasn't comfortable with it, especially with how secretive she was being. That's when she laughed. Not nervously, not kindly, but like it was ridiculous that I even cared. Then she looked me straight in the eyes and said, "You're so easy to replace. You know, if you can't handle it, maybe someone else will." I didn't say a word. I couldn't. Something inside me cracked so quietly, I don't think she even noticed. I just nodded, turned around, and walked out of the room. That night, I slept on the couch, staring at the ceiling, listening to the hum of the refrigerator and the silence between us, wondering how love had turned into this coldness. The days that followed were numb. I stopped making plans. I stopped talking about wedding venues and honeymoon ideas. I avoided her, not out of spite, but out of exhaustion, and she didn't chase after me. She stayed glued to her phone, laughing at conversations I was no longer part of. One morning, I packed a small bag without a word and left to stay at a friend's place. I didn't tell her where I was going. She didn't ask. For 3 weeks, I gave myself a space to breathe. I went back to the gym. I started picking up extra shifts at work, not for the money, but to feel purposeful again. I reconnected with old friends I had drifted away from, friends who reminded me of who I used to be before I started losing myself in someone else's shadow. I didn't text Emily. She didn't call. That silence between us said more than any fight ever could. When I finally returned, I wasn't looking for closure. I had already found it. She was sitting on the couch when I walked through the door, phone in hand, eyes widening in surprise. "Where have you been?" she asked, as if the distance hadn't already stretched between us long ago. "Thinking," I said quietly, "and I've made a decision. We're done." For the first time in months, I saw something crack in her. Her face flushed with panic. She scrambled for words, for excuses, said I was overreacting, that she didn't mean what she said, but it was too late. I stood there calmly, not out of anger, but from the strength I had found in the time away. "You told me I was easy to replace," I reminded her, "so now you have a chance to prove it." She didn't follow me when I gathered the rest of my things. She didn't beg. She just sat there, stunned, and I walked away, not because I didn't love her anymore, but because I finally remembered to love myself more. A few weeks later, I heard from mutual friends that her ex had ghosted her again, disappearing just like before. She had started posting vague, emotional quotes online, lines about regret, lost love, and not realizing what you had until it was gone. But I didn't feel angry. I didn't even feel satisfied. I just felt at peace. That heartbreak had been a turning point. Painful, yes, but also necessary. It had stripped away the illusion and forced me to face a truth I'd been too blind to admit. Love without respect is just decoration. Pretty but hollow. I started dating again eventually, but with new clarity. I set boundaries. I paid attention to red flags. I didn't tolerate disrespect, not even in small doses. Looking back, I'm grateful, not because of what happened, but because of what it taught me. That day she laughed and told me I was easy to replace. I didn't lose a partner. I found the strength to reclaim myself. And in walking away, I didn't just leave behind a toxic relationship. I returned home to who I was always meant to be.